Hi sweet peas, I hope you're all doing very well. The first thing I'd like to say before I start anything is I'm really sorry about the lighting in this video. I do normally have a lamp in my room that gives me a lot more light when I want to film a video in the evening, but it's not working today, so I'm aware that this is kind of grainy and is probably not going to upload with very good quality, but you don't need to look at it, just need to listen to it, I suppose. Um, what I'd like to do is just do a little bit of a catch-up video. I'm going to do a little haul in here, witchy haul. I'm not going to take you through everything that I've bought lately because a couple of weeks ago I did kind of go on a biannual altar shop, I suppose you could say, because I do have a permanent altar again now, and I wanted to get a few new things for it and get a few different candles and bits and pieces, altar cloths. So I'm not going to take you through all of that, but I'm just going to take you through some things that I did get recently that I'm really happy with and would like to share with you. And I'd also like to talk you through some of my incense collection, because I really use incense quite a lot in my path for ritual and for meditation and stuff like that, and astral projection. And there are some staple incenses that always have to be in my collection, and as soon as they run out I'm immediately ordering more. And there are also some new ones that I'm working with. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I feel the beneficial properties of certain incenses that I use are, because I find that really interesting when I'm learning about other people's pathways, and I find that incense is a big thing for them too. And I'm going to talk about a couple of other things as well. I'm going to talk about some synchronistic things that have happened in my life lately, a kind of urge that I'm feeling towards exploring male deity a little bit more too. But the first thing I wanted to say was, since I've come back from Stonehenge, I've been in an incredibly spiritually centred and very positive place. It was an overwhelming experience from start to finish. I went to Stonehenge with my mum and my boyfriend and 2 cars full of our friends. And it was really very magical, obviously, and it's left me with this really profound sense that I think I'm in more of a spiritual place in my life now than I perhaps ever have been. I'm much more out and proud, it's much more central to my day, I dedicate much more time to it. You can tell that from my current book of mirrors, how much I write down and how much I record, how much more important it is to me, and how it's much more of a linear journey now than it used to be. I've been deeply spiritual on and off through my life, but I think before I probably didn't have the self-knowledge and the sense of life experience to really make spirituality central to my daily life in a way that was consistent and in a way that really held true for me and helped me, and also made me feel this overwhelming sense of discovery all the time. It really is an evolution, and it really is something that I would now say that I no longer wish to put on the back burner at any point in my life. Spirituality is no longer going to be something that comes in waves and is kind of a phase as and when I require it. I think at core level I've been spiritual since I was a small child, but in terms of actually fitting it into my life and actually making decent time for it in terms of practice, that's been very off and on for me. And I feel that now I'm really in a place where it's going to be that way for the rest of my life. I think that's evident. And Stonehenge was a really big, I had a really big feeling of self-dedication almost. It was like I was really moving into the next phase of my spiritual life. I'm sorry if this is rambly, but it really was a very special feeling for me. But I did also think, and this is something that I didn't put in my Litha contemplations video, but it's something that's becoming abundantly clear, that Litha energy can also be fiery in ways that perhaps aren't so positive and in ways that are actually quite chaotic. I don't know if anyone else feels this way or if anyone else has experienced similar things, but there's something about the height of the sun's power that makes people sometimes overtly assertive or aggressive and overtly desirous to stand their ground and to say what they mean and to speak their personal truth, maybe sometimes with a lack of regard for others. And I notice we live quite close to a police station. There's a police station kind of, I wouldn't say close actually, but I think the sound travels quite a lot. And on hot days, on really hot days, you hear cop cars coming in and out at manic speeds with the sirens going. And my boyfriend always says to me, God, you get 5 minutes of sun in this country and everybody goes crazy. And it is true, there does seem to be a bigger police presence on the streets of my town and more police cars around when it's very sunny, and I feel that it's kind of, it gets people sometimes in a primal place that they can't actually explain or do anything with, so they end up fighting and acting very inappropriately, getting really drunk and maybe doing things that they're going to wake up in the morning and regret and kind of like eat their fist over. So, and I feel that's kind of bled into my life a little bit too. So I think Litha is actually quite a challenging time of year in some ways. I think it's challenging, and I think it really asks me to take a look at how I approach certain situations that might have gone off the deep end, and how I approach my own sense of authenticity and make sure that I don't get dragged into or drawn into anything that is unpleasant and that is not in alignment with my true self. So that's something that I've really been contemplating lately. I just wanted to get that out there. But yeah, the Litha energy has been wonderful. It's been very beneficial, very lovely. But I do sometimes feel like this time of year is the time of year where people really start to behave in a way that perhaps isn't in alignment with their core being, and I feel like there's sometimes some breakdowns in understanding. That's kind of how I feel. There's a fire inside that may have been stilled or oppressed through the colder months, and as it starts to get to the height of summer, it's like everybody wants a piece of it. So that's kind of been interesting for me to see and to kind of gauge my reaction to that. So I'm going to get on with the haul. As I said, this is not everything by any means that I've bought lately. Oh, hang on one second. Okay, this is something that I really have to show you guys. Okay, so I wanted to show you some crystals that my boyfriend bought me a couple of weeks ago when we went to a folk festival that I do normally go to predominantly because, I mean, the atmosphere is fantastic, but the shops are great. There are very reasonably priced crystals, lots of different kinds of incense, just things to look at, lovely statuettes and stuff like that. My boyfriend bought me quite a few lovely things which I'm completely in love with. These two pieces of rose quartz are ridiculously gorgeous. You won't be able to see them very well in this light. You won't be able to see the pink. It won't really show up much. But they are just so perfect. They fit perfectly. The great thing about buying stones when you're actually looking at them and able to handle them is that you're really able to get a sense of their energy. You're able to imagine them in your room, on your altar space, what you would do with them, how you feel about them, just the shape of them and the position of them in your hands. And I really love buying pieces that fit into my palm in a myriad of different ways because I like to play with them, especially rose quartz, which I often use to calm myself down, centre myself, kind of feel an overtly positive energy during a time which might be quite manic or chaotic. I absolutely love to grab hold of them and play with them. So these two pieces are absolutely gorgeous, and I kind of feel like they fit together. I feel like they belong together. There were quite a few pieces, and I really was going through and handling them all and closing my eyes and kind of trying to get a feel for which ones I wanted. And these ones are absolutely gorgeous, and I've kind of recently intentionally imbibed them with certain energies that I really want them to keep hold of for me, and they have done the job very well, so I'm really pleased with that. I also got a larger clear quartz point than the one I have, and I cast my circle with this the other day when I was doing some altar work, and it was very, very powerful, very good. I'm really happy with this one. I really love clear quartz for visualization, for purifying the energy, and for making me feel like I'm really ready to do something significant and meaningful. So that has lived on my altar ever since. I've literally just plucked it off of the altar now to show you guys, and it will go on there as soon as I've finished. I also found this beautiful amethyst cluster, which I love to pieces because, again, it's so perfect in my palm in any way that I want to hold it. I feel like it has a heart shape to it, which I love. And in this corner here, there's a piece of pyrite. There's quite a few little pieces of pyrite in the cluster, right at the edge. And I found this really special. As soon as I picked it up, I pointed it out to my boyfriend, and I was like, "Oh my God, there's fool's gold in there." I think that amethyst is obviously a stone for deep spiritual exploration. I think a lot of people would say that it's a go-to spiritual stone. And I feel that it's very much connected with the third eye chakra. I've always felt like pyrite is an earth-centered stone. It gives me that feeling of grounding, of realism, and I've often felt that it probably is connected more to the base chakra. And so I feel that it's really special that there's a piece of pyrite in this cluster. I feel that it's almost like that thing I was talking about in my thoughts on magic video, where I advise that during astral projection, people have a silver cord that they leave attached to their physical body, so that when they go flying around the astral realm they still have this connection to home, if you like. And in a sense that was almost a symbol of what this is, the fact that it has this stone in it that I consider to be very connected to the earth and the material realm. It kind of makes me think about stability and being in my own body, the five senses, and looking at things from a realistic perspective. And the fact that it's appeared in this beautiful piece of third eye stone, as I like to call it, is a really special thing. The first crystal that I ever had as a child was a great big hunk of amethyst. It probably wasn't as big as in memory, but of course I was young then, and I was given it as a present when I went to the Natural History Museum in London. And I loved it. And I've got no idea where it eventually ended up going, but I've always had a really strong connection to amethyst because of that first experience with it. I thought it was totally magical. I used to gaze into it and do what I would say was a crude and unaware form of trance work, I suppose. I used to get lost in it. It was like its own universe. So I was always very fascinated by amethyst, and it's very nice to have a big hunk of it again to work with and play with. So that's lovely. My boyfriend also bought me this Bast statuette, which I love, and which I've set up a little altar space / reflection space at my bedside. If you are if you're following my page, my Four Queens page on Facebook, then you will have already seen it. And I've placed her on there. Bast was the first goddess that I became interested in as a child. I was very fascinated by the studies, the Egyptology studies that we were all encouraged to do as children. We had to do several projects on Egypt. Egypt, even more so than ancient Greece, I feel, was focused on when I was at school. And Bast was 100% my ultimate favourite goddess. I was fascinated by her. I felt a really strong connection to her. I've always seen Bast as, aside from obviously being the goddess for cats, I've always seen her as being a protection goddess and a mother goddess. But I have noticed while I've been doing some reading that people do see her in a myriad of different ways. I've seen some websites that describe her as a goddess of love and joy and sexual pleasure. So I'm not hugely adept at Egyptology, or I don't have a massive overwhelming understanding of how the pantheon fits together, so I'm not sure how much is taken from hieroglyphics and written records and how much is taken from other places and other ideas. And of course Bast is a goddess that is very popularly worked with now by pagans, neo-pagans, however you want to say it, so obviously people will come up with their own ideas and experiences from actually working with her one-on-one, particularly if they're hard polytheists. So I don't know how many of the ideas that are put forth about Bast online and stuff are actually from that kind of experience rather than being from primary sources. So if anybody has any experiences with Bast and has a better understanding of what she stands for and what she was thought of as by the cult, I suppose you could say, that actually started to revere her as a matron, then I would love to know. I understand that Sekhmet is linked to Bast, and I understand that Sekhmet kind of came first and then Bast was popularised, but essentially they have the same energies to them in a sense. They're kind of aspects of each other, if you will. I understand that she is a solar goddess that was then reinterpreted by the Greeks as her being a lunar goddess. I absolutely love this statuette, and I love getting in touch with all of those old feelings that I've had over the years about her as a goddess. I think she is marvellous. I also wanted to share this with you. I did a tarot reading for a friend of mine recently. She only just really recently came back into my life. We only just recently reconnected, and she was one of the people that I went to Stonehenge with, and we had an amazing time there together. It was very lovely. We really cemented our connection and feel once again very close to each other. I did a tarot reading for her a couple of days before we went to Stonehenge, and on the day of Stonehenge she gave me this as a gift, as a thank you for doing her cards for her. She told me that I should hang it somewhere in the room above the door or something like that, and that it's a protective eye that sees negative energies and kind of clears them out and will protect me. So I've placed it over my altar, and I cast a pentacle over my altar with this the other day, and then I just left it over my altar, and I thought it was a very beautiful gift, and I was very moved by that gesture. I thought it was lovely. I've been having some experiences regarding male deity recently. I'm going to talk about something else that I got in the haul, but I just wanted to explain the synchronicity of it. A while ago, it was about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, I was sitting in the passenger seat of my mum's car, driving somewhere with her, and I started doing a little bit of cloud gazing. and I saw a man's face in the clouds, a bearded guy, and I thought that's really cool. So I kind of leaned out to look through the windshield at the clouds, because cloud gazing is just something I've been doing since the year dot. I absolutely love it and I get completely absorbed. It's taken on a much more spiritual significance for me now than it probably has done in the past. And I was looking through the windshield and I kind of arched my head out, and I realised that it wasn't just a guy with a beard, it was a guy with a beard, and he had a third eye here, and then he had antlers coming out from his hair. And I thought this was, something struck me instantly as being very important about this, and I suddenly got this sense that, you know, this thing that I'm seeing, which is coming from somewhere deep down in the unconscious and linking to something in the outer world, which is what it always is for me and what it always means, is stating that I need a hunter god, a god of the woods. I need to get in touch maybe with the pantheons and the ancestry from this island. But I'm also being told to look to Hinduism. And Hinduism is something that I've always felt some kind of connection to, and I have more than a base understanding of the pantheon, and I actually have a very close connection with Kali. So yeah, I really felt like that was something that was really calling to me. Since then, I have seen images of what I would say instantly struck me as male deity, all over the place. I've seen them in trees. I've seen them in the trunks, but also in the branches. I've seen backwards reflections in mirrors that instantly struck me as being some kind of male god, some kind of archetypal figure, and I've kind of looked again and gone, whoa, that was really strange. I had the cloud experience, and then the other day I was having a look at some video from the flooding in India, which is just unbelievably shocking, but that's a different story. I was having a look at some of the flooding in India, and I saw an incredible image of the tides rising and pushing very forcefully down this road. Fortunately, the people that were filming it were obviously in a safe place, but they were filming this huge statue of Shiva, which was up to its neck in water, and the water was kind of lapping over Shiva's head, and all you can see is Shiva's face in the stone in this incredibly reverent meditative state, with this water just rushing around him, all of this chaos ensuing all around him. And of course, being the god of destruction, it made me feel incredibly reverent. I had this moment of almost a feeling of not only synchronicity, but a feeling that was really important in a more potent sense for Hindus who will have been watching it, how incredible it was that he looked so calm, so peaceful, so at one with what was actually complete carnage, the takeover of the element of water, everything being destroyed, everything falling down. And that really made me feel like Shiva was knocking on my door a little bit and saying, hi, I'm the guy with the third eye, come hither and I will teach you what you need to know. So I've been doing a little bit of toing and froing, backing and forthing, reading different things that I wasn't aware of before, getting quite deeply into certain aspects of it that I wasn't aware of before, and that's very exciting for me. I love that. And also, when I went on my altar haul a couple of weeks ago, I found this guy, which was interesting. I walked straight into a shop and he kind of found me. He's a candle holder. I like to do a lot of my altar shopping secondhand because you can find really great old random things that you wouldn't find anywhere else. And also, in a sense, I'm a little bit of a psychometrist. I feel that often you can get some kind of energy or some kind of clue from, you know, being around things that were once owned by somebody else. So I found this guy and he kind of reminded me of Loki. But again, I felt like this was a really big, you know, spiritual brick to the face. Hi, you need male deity. You need to start looking into personified male deity. You need to learn the lessons that the masculine archetypes have to teach you. You need to let that into your life. So I really found all of this very interesting. So I just wanted to say that that has become a bigger part of my path, which is great. Okay, so now I'm going to talk you through the incense. I'm going to just go through in no particular order, I suppose. Okay, so first of all I wanted to talk about patchouli. Patchouli is a really important scent for me because my mother used to take me to a lot of folk festivals and spiritual shindigs and so on and so forth when I was a kid. And I really feel like patchouli gives me this sense of great memories, of positivity, of the first awareness that I had that people got together and celebrated things of this nature, you know, had like wigwams and meditation groups and stuff. So there's a lot of nice memories for me there. A lot of people use patchouli to link into inviting good luck and harmony, abundance, joy, all that good stuff. But for me, I think it's just more of a nostalgia thing. It's more of a very lovely nostalgia thing for me that's very pleasant. So, yeah, I burn patchouli quite regularly. Lang Lang, I always buy it, but it's not like it has any um, overwhelming link for me. It's more just for peaceful feelings, and sometimes I use it for meditation. I don't burn Lang Lang so much since I've been with my boyfriend because he is quite a big incense nut, but he isn't really a fan of Lang Lang. He's not really into that scent, so I don't burn it as much as I did before. But yeah, oh, I've got more here. So yeah, it's really for just feeling some feelings of love, harmony, understanding, positivity. It's very mellow for me, but it also makes me feel kind of able to reflect on things that might have gone on, kind of thing. I've got some seasonal cranberry here. Cranberry I burn for healing and health. I burn it when I'm feeling a little bit run down. I burn it when I feel like I need to check in with my physical self. I bought mulled wine the other day. I know this is totally a Yule thing, but I like the fact that we're now moving into the darker half of the year, and burning mulled wine the other day really made me feel some memories of where I was the last time things started turning into colder, darker, more reverent for me in a sense for my spiritual path, I suppose. So that's been interesting, but I'll save most of it obviously for winter. I burn cannabis incense. I find it calming. I also feel like it gives me a sense of personal freedom and a connection to other spiritual movements, and the idea that they hold cannabis to be their sacrament. So yeah, I really love burning it. I think it's got this calming, medicinal feeling to it. It also links me in with the idea that everything is one. I'm a monist, so I believe that everything that nature produces is indeed holy, whether or not it's villainised by the law. Strawberry I burn for love, luck, joy, positivity, the law of attraction, making myself feel pretty before a night out, all that kind of thing. I burn frankincense, surprise, surprise. I mean, what witch doesn't, to be fair? I burn it for purification and consecration. Before I do altar work, a few hours before I do any significant altar work, I will burn frankincense before I actually get down to business. And that is when I'm most likely to do a cross of light, which is kind of like a chaos magic banishing ritual in a sense to kind of clear out the energy, or I will trace the pentacle. I have a number of different things that I do, but frankincense will pretty much always be burning, and it's only once I've burned frankincense that I really feel like the altar is once again kind of levelled out for any new work that I wish to do and cleared of the energies of the last time that I used it. Apple I burn for hell. Apples are sacred to hell, my matron deity. And I also burn apples when I'm thinking about doing things like divination sometimes. I've just realised that I said burn apples. Obviously I meant burn apple incense. I don't actually literally burn apples. But yeah, I normally burn apples, burn apple incense, I did it again, when I'm connecting with hell, tuning into her energies and that kind of thing. Obviously it's also incredibly popular for Samhain, which is the other time that I use it a lot. Cinnamon I use for energy. I use for in energy raising sometimes. A lot of people use cinnamon for cleansing, and frankincense is my go-to incense for cleansing, but cinnamon also has its place. Cinnamon has a very distinctive scent. I wouldn't say that I'm actually a huge fan of cinnamon. I'd say I'm a fan of what it actually does for my mind and for my space. So that's why I keep it. It's actually more of a practical thing than this sense that, you know, I really love cinnamon and stuff. What else have I got here? Nag Champa. Nag Champa I use for relaxation and kind of grounding and centering. Nag Champa is one of the incenses that I've smelled a lot. My ex-boyfriend and I, who I was with for almost 4 years, burned it every single day in our flat. He introduced me to it and left me with a lifelong love of it. It's frangipani and sandalwood for anyone who doesn't know, and it's very popular for Hindus, it's very popular for practitioners of yoga. Everybody loves a bit of nag, don't they, I think? So yeah, I love nag. I burn it just to ground, to centre. My boyfriend loves it. He often requests that I burn some. He just gets it in his mind that he needs some nag, so we often burn that. And opium. Opium is a staple for me. Opium, frankincense and apple I always have. I need them. So if I start to run out, I'll normally reorder before I run out. Opium I use for astral projection, divination, dream work, trance work, anything like that. Sometimes for deep meditation as well, and also sometimes to get ready to do dream work, to look for the answers to my questions in my dreams, to ask certain things to come up in dreams, to request messages from spirit in dreams. I will normally burn opium before I do this. Opium is absolutely central to what I do. So I always have it. And it was one of the first incenses that I purchased when I was 13 or 14. I bought my first incenses, and they were opium and strawberry, and I used to burn them together. So I really love it for that as well. The fact that, you know, ever since I was a wee witchling, I have burned opium, and I have found it to be incredibly nurturing, nourishing and useful. So I always have it. White musk I use for meditation. I also use it for reflection. I use it when I'm trying to write in my book of mirrors about anything significant or important that's happened. I use it to kind of free up the words and make myself feel kind of charged to reflect on anything of spiritual significance. So I'm nearly out of that, so I'm going to have to buy more. So yeah, that's my incense collection at the moment, or most of it anyway, and what the various different incenses mean to me. So I would love to know if you guys have any important links to incenses that you use on your own pathways. That would be great. A few other things I wanted to say. I'm really, really happy to have a permanent altar space again. I don't know about anyone else, but of course it's very popular to assert in the witchy community and the pagan community that you do not need an altar to be a proficient witch. You do not need an altar to pay reverence to your spirit guides, your deities, anything like that, or to connect with the elements or to work magic. And of course this is true. You know, for a start, you can have an astral altar, you can have everything in your mind, and your mind is the most essential and primary tool anyway. So all of the knickknacks and stuff are lovely, and the symbolism kind of gets you into the mindset and that kind of thing, but of course none of it's necessary. Having said that, it's been a very long time since I had a permanent altar space in my room, and I really feel like it's given me something very important. I feel that it's given me a potent space for reflection. It's almost that daily reminder that yes, there is work to be done, there are things I want to do and think about. I just feel like it's there, and because it's there, I feel even more reverent, and I feel like even more stuff is going on for me, and I feel like I can tap in and connect with much more ease sometimes than I probably would be able to do if I was having a stressful day, or if a lot of stuff was going on, or if I only had an hour to do what I wanted to do and the altar was not there. You know, I might find it more difficult to tap in as easily. So I suppose it's just that ready-made link, and it's really important to me to have that. I also feel like it encourages me to do meditation a little bit more, which is good, because sometimes I find myself doing other things, and meditation really needs to take precedence if you're to, I think there's a Zen Buddhist saying, sit meditation every day for 20 minutes, unless you don't have time to sit for 20 minutes, and then you need to sit for an hour. And I think that's very true. If you don't have time to sit meditation for 20 minutes, then you probably need to sit for a lot longer than that, because you've got your priorities all shades of screwed up. So I like the fact that I have an altar for that reason. It reminds me to sit for 20 minutes or an hour if necessary. So that's been really important to me. I've been going to yoga classes. I feel like yoga and meditation are quite linked in together for me. I am aware that yoga is a very ancient meditation practice, and I am aware that the asanas are not the whole animal. They're not the entire premise of what yoga is about. The asanas are the positions that you do. Of course, in the Western world, we've taken the positions to be predominantly useful for exercise, for keeping healthy, for keeping in touch with your body and keeping the mind-body connection strong. But overall, it's much more complex and in-depth than that. And, you know, I do have an awareness of that. But one thing that's been really important for me about starting yoga is that it's really strengthened my back up a lot. And I didn't think that I was ever going to be able to say that, because if you watch my chronic pain and spirituality video, you'll know that I've been down a lot of different roads with my chronic pain. Since my back injury, there's been ups and downs and round the corners, and there have been times when nothing was ultimately successful, and it has been a very long struggle. So I wasn't really expecting to be able to say that a semi-regular practice of yoga, semi-regular because I'm not that disciplined with it, but I'm trying to be, would actually make that much difference. But it really has. And the great thing about it is that when I sit meditation for a very long time, I am sometimes distracted by my back kind of grumbling at me. I know that there are many different ways that you can sit meditation. You do not need to sit with your back straight in a lotus position. You can sit with your back against the wall. You can sit on a chair. You know, there are lots of ways you can do it for people who do not feel comfortable having their back rigid for that long. However, I really prefer a standard Western meditation position. So I won't be in lotus necessarily, but I will have a straight back. My lungs will be at full capacity. That's how I prefer it. So, you know, it's been great doing yoga because it's really strengthened my back. I noticed the last time I went to my group meditation class, which is 2.5 hours long, that I did not get any hell from my back whatsoever, that it was 100% calm waters, and it allowed me to go into a deeper state of meditation, I feel, because I didn't kind of have that thing niggling at me. And of course with meditation, anything that niggles at you, any itches you have, any aches you have, the whole point of meditation is to acknowledge them and to let them pass over you. You're not supposed to offer attention to them other than to acknowledge them and to move on and get back to focusing on the breath. But I did notice that I was able to achieve a meditative state far quicker because my back has strengthened from doing this yoga, my core muscles have strengthened from doing this yoga. So that's been really great. And I do feel a much better sense of mind-body connection. I absolutely love it. I love my teacher. I go with 2 of my guy friends and we just have a fantastic time. So this is something I'm definitely going to continue with. I've already bought a yoga mat and I'm doing it at home. So that's been great. A few more things that I wanted to say briefly. I know I haven't done a book review for a really long time. I'm planning on doing kind of a haul book review in a sense because I've read 4 books lately. I'm halfway through 2 of them and I've finished another 2 of them that I would really like to review for you guys, and I don't want to fill this channel up with book reviews alone. So I've decided to do kind of a group book review when I've completed one of the books that I'm reading now. So in a couple of days I'll do a group book review which will have 4 or 5 books on it that I've been biting into during the month of June, and I can let you know how that's been going. I'm very excited to talk about them, and I think that one of the recommendations in particular that I'm going to make is absolutely essential to the bookshelf of any witch, particularly any female witch. A few other things I wanted to say. I'm working on another Soul Tarot workshop, or 2 or 3, and Tea and Tarot will be back. I've had a week off from YouTube, so I've really been absorbing the Litha energies and connecting with my altar and connecting with other stuff. So I am going to be doing a lot more tarot related stuff because I cannot help myself. I'm also offering tarot tuition now. If you would like one-on-one help from me for a week or 2 weeks, it is extremely affordable. You can go over to my Etsy shop and take a look at what's on offer there. So if you would like a tarot teacher and the books aren't your thing, if you've gone through the trainee tarot course and you would like to work with me one-on-one, I can give you exercises and all that kind of thing. We can have a discussion about what your goals are. So this is something else that I'm offering now, which I'm really excited about. And there are also some new reading options, which I'm really pleased with. So if you wanted to take a look, you can do. And the last thing that I wanted to say about my tarot readings, the services that I offer, is that I'm going to have a big competition, I think, on this channel during the month of July. It's not a competition, it's a giveaway, where I'm going to basically offer 2 or 3 of you the chance to have a free full-length reading from me, and maybe a couple of other half-length readings potentially. So that's going to be exciting. All you're going to need to do is be subscribed to me and comment below the video that I make offering these readings for a giveaway, and we'll do it like that. I'm also going to offer a separate giveaway for my newsletter subscribers only. So if you're not subscribed to the newsletter and you would like to be, please hop over to the blog and put your email in the handy little opt-in box, and when the secondary competition comes out for the newsletter subscribers, you will be in with a chance to win. It doesn't matter if you've had a reading from me before, paid or unpaid, it doesn't matter. If you feel like other people should win because you've actually had one from me or whatever, don't worry about that. Just if you want it and you see the video, respond below, and then I will have like a giveaway draw video where I'll let you guys know who's won. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to be lovely. I love giving away free stuff, and I love doing tarot, so that's going to be a tasty combination. This has been a mishmash catch-up chit-chat video. Much love to you all. Thank you so much for continuing to be a part of my journey and letting me continue to be a part of yours. Blessed be.